it's another book haul. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now for today's video, I'm going to be doing my November book haul, but to be honest, this pile of books that I have right here is actually probably from October and November as well, and we are back in the corner of shame. And I would just like to show you that the corner is becoming messier and messier, which means that I have to film this book haul in order for me to clean up this pile. I know that my friends like to put the books that they have to haul in on their shelves, and then they have like a whole list system. I do not have that system. I just have a whole pile system. So I have a lot of books to show you. The books are usually from publishers, books that I bought for myself, and also books from eBay. I'm going to try to run through as quickly as possible so that this video isn't super long, but I already know that I probably have over 100 books to show you. So the first stack that I'm going to have to show you is actually a random stack of historical romances that I bid on. Nobody bid on them on eBay, and then I ended up winning them. I want a whole lot of Gillian Hunter's books. Lacey has asked me if I ever read Gillian Hunter before, and she actually hasn't seen the author before. So the answer is no, I haven't read Gillian Hunter before, and I don't really know her works, but I was intrigued by the fact that this lot had a lot of step backs. So the first book that I have is The Devilish Pleasures of a Duke, and then this has a very beautiful step back, as you can see here. And then we have The Countess Confessions, and I really like the cover of this book because it's red and it's blue, and I really like my red covers. The step back is also very disappointing. Then we have the copy of A Duke's Temptation, and then this one is a newer copy, so this one actually doesn't have a step back or a back cover, so it was kind of disappointing, but I like the cover. Then the next one that I have is this bright red one called The Wicked Games of a Gentleman, and then this one has a beautiful step back like this one right here. I just love this one so much. And then we have another beautiful cover called A Wicked Lord at the Wedding, and then we have A Bride Unveiled, and it's kind of like a boring step back like this one. We have a vintage cover of Gillian Hunter's book called Abandoned, but this one doesn't have a step back or a cover to it. Then we have another kind of like simple basic one called The Husband Hunt, and then this cover I really like a lot. This one's called Wicked as Sin, and I love the step back of this one. So I forgot if this one has a step back or not, but you know what, gorgeous. And then the last book in the lot is actually this one called Daring. And what I've noticed when I was adding these books to my Goodreads shelf is that this series actually has a ton of books. So I have a ton of books from that series, but I don't have the whole series. Last time I checked, there was probably like 18 books in her series, and honestly the ratings for the series isn't that high as well, so I'm a little bit scared. So I think the next few books I'm going to show you are going to seem really random, but honestly I couldn't give up the idea of requesting these books even though that they are picture books, because they are absolutely gorgeous. So the first one that I want to show you is actually The Princess Bride. I watched this movie because it's a classic and everybody really enjoys it, and I really wanted to have the storybook of this book, and honestly this one doesn't really have a story. It's literally counting for kids, but the illustrations are gorgeous, and it's definitely like a birthday or Christmas treat for younger readers out there, and I highly would recommend it. This book was actually sent to me from HBG Canada, and I'm so appreciative that they sent me this book. The next book that I have to show you is actually another book that was sent to me from HBG Canada. This one's Clueless, and this is the illustrated cover, and I absolutely love the illustrations of this. And if you guys haven't watched the classic movie yet, definitely go check it out, because this movie was the one that made me fall in love with Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is literally my hero, and I would do anything for him. Like, I love him so much. But unfortunately for this storybook, this one actually doesn't include the romance that we have with Paul Rudd and our main female character, but it still has like the main plot line that we love so much. Then the last book that was sent to me from HBG Canada in terms of storybook wise, it's actually an illustrative copy of The Office, and it's A Day at Dunder Mifflin's Elementary School, and it's absolutely so cute. It has the iconic office scenes in this, including Kevin's chili, and I absolutely fangirled over the illustrations of this book, and I actually showed my friend Lacey because I really wanted her to see how beautiful and how detailed this book is. So I really do recommend you picking up a copy of this book if you love The Office, the TV show, or if you just want to give something to a young reader. Then the last book that I have to show you that's in terms of picture books is actually Home Alone. I bought this at Costco for $10. List price here in Canada is $19.95, and that's way too expensive for me. So when this came out last year, I was disappointed that it was so expensive, but now that I see that it's at Costco, I'm buying them. So I bought Home Alone just to treat myself because I really like this illustration copy and it's so freaking beautiful. So once again, go buy yourself a copy or buy your younger reader a copy and then say it's for them, but really it's for you. So once again, in no particular order, we are moving towards our paranormal, teen, and YA books. So if you guys are here for it, this is where we start the fun stuff. So if you guys haven't watched my vlogs yet for the Paranormal Romance Readathon that I hosted a couple weeks back ago now, like in the beginning of November with a bunch of my friends, I actually really got into paranormal romances. And this was a book that I really absolutely love called The Art of Seducing a Naked Werewolf by Molly Harper. This book is actually about a female werewolf who actually wants to protect her pack, and she does not appreciate any newcomers coming into town to investigate the paranormal elements of the small town. And so she's trying to drive away our main hero, who actually came to the small town to research about werewolves and to research if they are true or not. I absolutely love this book, and I actually listened it to audiobook through my library, but I really wanted a physical copy so that I can commemorate that fact that I actually read this book. So the next book that I picked up is a book by Meg Cabot. I believe that's how you say her name. This one is called The Mediator, and it's part of the Shadowland series. This one is about a girl who can see ghosts, and her job is actually to help ghosts pass on to the next life and to finish any unfinished business. And I think I'll actually really enjoy this series. I love Meg's writing, and unfortunately for me, when I was growing up, I never read any of Meg's stories before, but now that I'm an adult and I'm reading her romances, I know that I love Meg. The next two books that I have to show you is actually part of a series by Victoria Scott, and this book is called The Collector, and this one is The Liberator, and this is part of a Dante Walker series. These books were published in early 2000s, and when I was researching books to read for the Paranormal Romance readathon, I found this series that I've been keeping my eye on ever since I was in high school, but I just never got around to reading it because back then I just never really liked paranormal romance. But this one is about a guy who is basically a Grim Reaper who brings souls onto the afterlife, and his job is to bring this popular girl's soul to the afterlife, or this popular girl is supposed to go to the afterlife or something like that, and this is his journey. So the next book that I have to show you is actually a fantasy novel. I always mistaken this for paranormal, but it's actually fantasy. This one's called A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and now this book was a book that my friends Lacey and Jessica have read for their book club. They're a big fan of Jennifer's writing and also their fantasy books. So I picked it up because I bought this book for my friend Lacey for her Christmas present, and then I noticed that it was on sale on Amazon Canada, and I was like, you know what, I already have book one because of you, I might as well buy book two because of you too. So now we're matching, and now I have a textbook that I don't know when I'll ever read. Now the next book that I have to show you is actually a book that I picked up myself. This one's called Heart Bones by Colleen Hoover, and this one has been seen across all of Bookstagram, and also my friends probably read this already, but I haven't been following closely to it. A lot of my friends actually came back to me and asked me if I liked Colleen Hoover because I don't really talk about indie authors that I love a lot, and I really don't talk about books that I have read before I met my friends, so they didn't know my stance on Colleen Hoover. And I actually adore Colleen Hoover's writing. I think her writing is very captivating and very dramatic, and it's just fun. So Heart Bones is about two people who come from opposite ends. One is very rich and the other one's very poor, so they're kind of not destined to be together, but this is their angst and this is their love story. So I'm excited to pick this one up and read it. So we're gonna segue our haul into the YA books. So the first book that I picked up is We Are Not Free by Tracy G, and now this book was a book that I really wanted, but the problem is right now is that books are really expensive and they're not having that many sales because of the economy and also because bookstores need money. So I was very hesitant in picking this book up because the price is expensive, but I finally bit the bullet when they had a sale because I really wanted to support an Asian author, and also because this story is very poignant. It's something that needs to be talked about. It's something that lots of people forget that happened. So this book is actually about 4 teens that were set in like the World War II era, where there was a bombing in Pearl Harbor, and then now lots of Japanese Americans, third generations, first generations, whatever, they were just removed from their homes and sent to these camps, and that they were stripped away their American citizen rights and everything, and they were treated like that they were spies. So this book is actually following 4 teens that actually went through that horrible part in history, and now we are discovering their story. I'm really excited to read this book because I know the author did a ton of research for it, and I really want to read this title. So to support like Asian authors and to support smaller authors, especially during a time where a lot of publishing houses are not sending out ARCs or are not sending out like major marketing campaigns because funds are restricted. There was actually a campaign where if you were to suggest to your library or even pre-order a copy of We Are Not Free by Tracy Chee, Tracy would actually send you a pre-order gift. And I actually recommended the book to be bought by my local library, and I sent in like kind of like a confirmation that I requested the book to be bought by my library, and Tracy was actually kind enough to send me a poster, and I absolutely adore the artwork of this poster. So I'm really happy that this poster was here, and I'm definitely going to cherish it and keep it with my book. So the next YA book that I want to talk about is actually this book by a Canadian author called Ben Phillip, and he actually wrote this popular book called The Field Guide to the North American Teenager last year, and he had an event with the publisher last year, but I didn't get to go. But this one is his second novel, I believe. This one's called Charming as a Verb, and this one is about a popular boy in school who has like a very, good reputation, and he actually has a sketchy dog walking business, and our female character is the opposite of him in the sense that she is known as to be intense and I guess a little bit nerdy, and so she threatens him and basically blackmails him to help her build her image and to rebuild her image so that she has a better image at their very prestigious high school. And I'm excited to read it because it's very cute and it seems like it's going to be like kind of like a Pride and Prejudice story as well. So let's segue back to my eBay book hauls and also my paranormal romance book hauls. So what happened was that I actually was on a hunt for early 2000s paranormal romance, and I found this lot by Michelle Bardsley that I really thought was really cute. I actually have one of the books in the series, and I think I read it and I kind of enjoyed it, so that's why I bid on this lot where it's 7 books. The owner before actually labeled each book, and I think that's very helpful. I mean, a lot of my friends actually don't like it when there's random stickers on the books or when there's writing in the books, but if it's actually helpful in telling me that this is book number 1, I'm okay with it. So book number 1 is actually called I'm a Vampire, That's Why, and the cover looks really cute. There's cupcakes with bats on it, and I guess this is just about characters that are paranormal, but they're trying to hide in the real life, in the real city. The second book that I have is actually Don't Talk Back to Your Vampire. This one seems very sassy and very cute. The third one is called Because Your Vampire Said So, and I just love the titles of the series so far. This one is actually a book that I have, and I think I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. I was just checking my shelf to see if I read it or not. This one's called Wait Till Your Vampire Gets Home, and I think this one is a single father with twin vampires, but I'm actually not too sure, and don't quote me on that. The next book is called Over My Dead Body, and I think I forgot to mention this, but I think each book in this series follows 2 different couples, features different couples. So if you guys are worried about like whether or not where to jump into those series, I guess you could just jump in whenever you want, but also don't quote me on it since I actually never read it. The 6th book is called Come Hell or High Water. I don't know, I just really like the title. And then finally, the last book that I have in the lot is Cross Your Heart, which is pretty cute too because she's wearing a leopard jacket. So continuing our theme of early 2000s paranormal romances, I actually picked up this weird series that nobody has ever heard of, or at least not anybody that I know, but the series is from Michelle Rowan, and I actually have 1 book of hers in this series on my shelf, and it was like book number 4, and I realized that you need to read book number 1, 2, and 3 in order to read book number 4. So that was my perfect excuse to purchase these books from Thrift Books. So yeah, I finally started buying books from Thrift Books because I realized that I can get the condition that I want. I could just spend money on 1 book versus, spending a lot of money on a giant lot of books that I don't really like anyways. So I started buying books from Thrift Books, but needless to say, it's kind of like a downhill thing as well, because thrift books is still expensive for me because I live in Canada and shipping is not free. It's expensive. So this one is called Fanged and Fabulous, and this one seems like it's a little bit urban fantasy, to be honest. It's about a girl who accidentally got turned into a vampire and now she's the slayer of slayers, and this is kind of like her adventure series. And then the next book that I have is Stakes and Stilettos, and I actually really like the cover of this book and I like the title of this book. I think it's cute. I think it's fun. And then this one is Bitten and Smitten, and I think I have maybe some other books from this series, but I'm not too sure, and it's not in my pile here yet. Okay, so the next book that I have right here is kind of disappointing. So I bought this from thriftbooks. Again, my friends actually don't like thriftbooks because they send random copies sometimes if you do like the most basic, like acceptable like condition of the books, because thriftbooks actually goes from like acceptable, good, very good, excellent, new, whatever. And I always pick the cheapest options because I actually don't really care about the condition of my books sometimes, but come on, man, like all these stickers telling me that it was a library copy and it was officially withdrawn is kind of off-putting, and I can't actually easily remove it. So this was disappointing to buy. Plus, I actually read this book called Nice Girls Don't Have Fangs by Molly Harper, and I actually didn't really like it. This one is about a librarian who got fired and then actually got killed and then got turned into a vampire in order for her to continue her life on Earth. And this book is also set in an urban fantasy setting, and it's also a world where vampires are accepted and they're well known. Then I also have another book, I believe in the same series, called the Nice Girl series, and this one's called The Care and Feeding of Stray Vampires, and I think I only picked up a few books from the series because I didn't know if I wanted to read them or not. So I'm going to move on to show you some of these copies of Julia Quinn's novels that I purchased from this really nice eBay seller that has really good conditions for her books and always have the nicest stepbacks ever. I was so excited to pick these ones up because Julia Quinn has really gorgeous like old school covers and back covers, and my friends have them and I wanted to be like them, even though sometimes I don't really like Julia Quinn's novels, you know. So the first book that I have right here is actually Everything and the Moon. So you see here dark navy blue, but back here is a gorgeous back cover and I really enjoy it. So yeah. And then we have To Catch an Heiress and bright purple, and then the back has floral and she's wearing a beautiful dress. The conditions are amazing. The spines are not cracked at all. So this one is actually one of my favorites from Julia Quinn's. This one's called Brighter Than the Sun, and I saw this from Lacey and I needed to have it because look, she's on a swing and then her slipper is like about to fall off. So adorable, so cute. And then finally we have How to Marry a Marquis. I think that's how you say it. And then this one has a very beautiful back cover too as well. So Lisa Kleypas. So I have this giant lot of Lisa Kleypas books that I hauled, or like I didn't haul, but I received like a month ago. But I was just so lazy in terms of hauling it because I wanted to do like a whole eBay book haul. But then look at me now, combining eBay with my publisher book hauls. So I picked up a lot of Lisa Kleypas books in this beautiful lot because I really wanted her stepbacks. Unfortunately, Midnight Angel does not have a stepback or a back cover, so that was kind of disappointing. And then this book I already have. This one is called Love Come to Me. I already have this book, so this is a duplicate copy that I can easily get rid of. Most of these books are duplicate copies. The reason why I bought them again was because they have beautiful stepbacks, which I'm gonna show you now. So this one is called When Strangers Marry, and it's gold and shiny and beautiful. And then we have a beautiful red cover like this. And then this one is absolutely one of my faves because I really like it when the cover has like these beautiful cuts like this one. So this one's called Stranger in My Arms, and I swear to you I read this book but I forgot what this book was about. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. I really like it. And then I also have a random Kat Martin book that just showed up in my stack right here, but this one is actually one of my favorite back covers too, or step backs. This one is called Night Secrets, and he's in a tub and it's shiny. Well, he's shiny from the water. He's glistening from the water. This one's one of my favorites too as well. This one's Lisa Kleypas, Suddenly You. I have a book of this. They released a new edition of this, but this step back, one of the beautiful ones. This one is something that I've seen a lot from the artist. He actually has his own website and everything where he uploaded all his step back works, and I highly recommend you to go search it up because his website's gorgeous. This one's my last one, called Where Dreams Begin. So beautiful. So autumn, so fall. So switching back to Paranormal Romance, I bought a lot, if you guys couldn't tell already. So this one is called How to Run with a Naked Werewolf, and if you guys watch my vlog, you would know that this one is my favorite of the trilogy series. I just absolutely love this book so much. It was so cute. So this one is about a girl who witnessed a murder, and then now she's under the protection of this werewolf, and then she has her own back history. She has her own issues where she can't trust people, and then she has to stand up for herself and become stronger, and it was just so good. So definitely go check this one out if you guys haven't already. And then I picked up another Molly Harper series. This one is I don't know what series this is actually part of now that I see it's like author of Nice Girls and the Naked Werewolf series. This one may be like Bayou Magic or something like that. This one's called A Witch's Handbook of Kisses and Curses by Molly Harper, and I never read a paranormal romance with like a witch before, so I'm excited. And then there's another one called Where the Wild Things Bite. This one, unfortunately, is another like library copy, as you can see here, but you know what? It doesn't hurt my soul that much. And then the next one is another Michelle Rowan book, and this is part of the series that I just showed earlier. This one's called Lady and the Vamp. And like you can tell this is like my type of stuff because like honestly early 2000s paranormal romance. So the next book that I have to show you is actually another paranormal fantasy novel. This one I picked up because I really wanted to read more, and this one is actually new. This one's called How to Tame a Beast in 7 Days by Carolyn Sparks. And Carolyn Sparks is a very popular paranormal romance author. This book is about kind of like a Beauty and Beast retelling. This one is a girl who has to be married to a beast in order to save her dad because her dad would be killed unless she does so. And I don't know, sounds very cute. So I randomly placed an order for a Gail Cameron like series lot on eBay, and I personally never read a Gail Cameron book before, but I really like her covers and I just really feel like I would like her books. So I actually picked up this cover called A Knight's Vow, and it's literally no step back, no back cover, but it's pretty in the sense that it's vintage. And then the next book in the lot was His Betrothed, and I really like the old vintage artwork as well. And then His Scandal, which I really like as well. It's like gold and yellow. And then finally His Bride, which is also pretty too because I like the creamy white colors. So the next two books I have to show you is actually from Shanna Gallagher, and she wrote a couple books for Avon Romance, but she has since stopped, and she has written books by herself, like independently published or something like that. So I hauled a lot of like spy historical romances in my last haul, and a lot of people were like really interested in it. So if you guys are interested in more, this one is actually another spy romance. This one's called Pride and Petticoats, and this one I purchased on Amazon Marketplace because it's out of print. But this one is about a girl who actually knows that her betrothed is a spy, but then she has to be finding secrets on the spy so that she can like save herself or save her family. And I think that this one would be super fun too as well, like kind of like a cat and mouse game. And then the next book that I have to show you is When Dashing Met Danger, and now this one is about a girl who thinks that her betrothed is very snobby, like not for her, like just complete opposite and everything, no matter like how hot he is. And then her brother actually disappears, so she has to turn to him to find her brother, and her husband or her betrothed is actually a undercover spy, and then he has duties to the crown to go protect her and her family. So I think this one will be super fun as well. So I actually forgot that I picked up another Shanna Gallagher book, and this one's called Good Grooms Hunting, and this one is about a grandfather of our main female character who actually has a treasure map from the grandfather, and then she owns half of the map, and then our hero actually owns the other half. So they actually have to work together in order for them to put the map together so that they can find the buried treasure. So the next book that I have to show you is actually a complete cover buy. The sticker is easily removable with like a hair dryer, so I don't really care for it. But this one's called Meet Me at Midnight, and it's from Suzanne Enoch, and I just really like this trilogy series with the vintage covers. Go search it up if you guys haven't already. It's very nice, and I'm trying to collect them. The next book that I have to show you is actually a part of a trilogy series. Not a trilogy series, it's a quartet, because this is like, I think the 4th book, but I finally collected it all. This one's called It Takes a Hero, and the reason why I collected it from Elizabeth Boyle is because the back covers are really nice. I was hesitant in picking up this one because this one's not my favorite back cover. I already have my favorites, but in order to complete the series, I just decided to pick this one up too as well. And then this one is a Cathy Maxwell book, so I have books 1 and 2, I think. And then I have like the step backs to it. But then this one I don't have it. So I randomly placed an order for it on Amazon Marketplace, hoping that I would get the step back. But unfortunately, I did not. So I forgot to show you 2 other Gail Cameron books that I picked up. This one's called My Lady's Guardian, and then this one's called The Darkest Night. So both of them have really nice artworks. They don't have step backs, but they're very pretty to look at. So the next 3 books I have to show you is actually Lorraine Heath's books. And if you guys are new to my channel, I really like Lorraine Heath in terms of historical romances. I think that her books are very scandalous. Like, they have a lot of drama. And I'm here for the drama. So this one's called Passions of a Wicked Earl. And this one is about a girl who married a guy. And then on her wedding night, like on their wedding night, he catches her in the arms of his younger brother, and then he thinks that, you know, she's cheating on him, so then he banishes her, and then she leaves the estate, and then she goes and lives her life, grows up a bit, and then she blossoms into a young woman, and then she has to come back to seduce her husband for her own reasons. And I think this one's going to be really fun in terms of second chance romance, and I really hope there's groveling. So like I said, with Lorraine Heath's book with drama, this one is filled with it. So this one's called Waking Up with the Duke, and this one is about our hero who has a best friend who asks him for a favor, and the favor is to have his wife be impregnated by him. I know. It's insane, and I can't wait to see how it goes. So the next book that I have to show you, or the last book that I have to show you from Lorraine Heath right now, is called Pleasures of a Notorious Gentleman. And this one is about a soldier who got injured on the field, and then he returns back home and he does not remember anything. So he's very shocked to know that there's this beautiful woman standing in front of his home, and she has a baby, and then she kind of lies and says that the baby is his, even though it's not. So this one has full of deception. Can't wait to see how Lorraine Heath fixes it all. So the next few books I have to haul for you is Kat Martin. So I hauled a couple books before, and this is just another part of her lot. This one's called Hot Rain. Not interesting. I think this one's a contemporary novel from Kat Martin. This one is a historical romance called The Fire Inside, and I actually really enjoy the step back. It's like a collage of like scenes. And then this other one is a part of her series too, called Fanning the Flame, which is pretty cool too. Very glossy, and there's a lot of things happening on the step back. And then the last Kat Martin book that I found right now is called Secret Ways. And this one was very disappointing to me because the eBay seller like cut the step back off. Thanks. Okay, so the next lot that I have to show you is from Elizabeth Hoyt. And this one is like my most prized possession eBay like lot that I've received, because I really like the step backs for the series called the Maiden Lane series. And this is actually from Paranormal Romance, and they did so well with the step backs. So I actually collected all the books in the Maiden Lane series, and I think I only have one that doesn't have the step back, but let me show you. So I'm just going to show you random order. I don't know which one's book number 1, but Notorious Pleasures, beautiful 2-page step back. And then we have Dearest Rogue, which is my favorite book in this series. Gorgeous step back. And then we have Thief of Shadows, beautiful step back. Like, I can't get over it. And then this one doesn't have a step back. This one's called Lord of Darkness, and this one's just boring. So we're gonna leave that at that. The next one is Duke of Desire. Really beautiful step backs. Scandalous Desires. She's in a tub. I just love tub ones. Tub ones are so beautiful. Sweetest Scoundrel. So pretty. Wicked Intentions. Gorgeous. Duke of Pleasure. I love it. Duke of Sin. Wow. Darling Beast. Now this one is steamy. I really like this one a lot. This one looks like this. Wow. And then I think that is it for all my Elizabeth Hoyt books. So now switching gears to my contemporary novels. I recently did this challenge to myself where I would read early 2000s contemporary novels, and then I reread one of Julia James' books, and I absolutely forgot how much I loved her writing. Like, I knew I liked it, but like I forgot how much. And so I decided to pick up the last two books that I don't have from her. This one's called It Happened One Wedding, and then this one is called Something About You. If you guys didn't know, Julia James writes like kind of like legal contemporary romances, and it's also because she used to be a lawyer turned romance author. So It Happened One Wedding, it's actually about a girl who is an investment banker, and then she got dumped or humiliated by a guy, and then so her little sister actually got engaged, so she has to be part of the wedding, and she actually meets the best man, who is a playboy type character, and our hero is actually a special agent. This one should be very fun, and it should include a lot of like fun action scenes as well, if I know Julia James well enough. Now this one is called Something About You, and this one is about a female assistant US attorney, and she is thrown together in the loops with her enemy, who is also happens to be an FBI agent, and our hero actually blames her because he had a case that he was about to close, but then it failed, and then he thinks that it's her fault. So this one's kind of an enemies to lovers romantic suspense novel. So the next book that I picked up is actually a new historical romance that came out like last month. This one's called A Duchess a Day by Charisse Michaels, and I have a couple of Charisse Michaels books on my shelf, but I never read it before. But this one is beautiful like cover and everything. This one is about a girl who does not want to marry her betrothed, so she always runs away, and then our hero is actually her bodyguard and catches her and then brings her back to like the city or the town that she lives in so that she can marry this guy, and they fall in love. There has been some slight change in lighting because my light overheated, so that's really great. But the next contemporary romance novel that I have to show you is actually called How to Tame a Modern Rogue, and this one is really funny because when I picked this one up, it sounded really cute. It's an early 2000s contemporary romance that I picked up from thriftbooks, and it's about a high school teacher who is very like cute and very like put together and things like that, and it reminds me a lot like my friend Jessica, and I teased her about it, but she's just like, she doesn't get it. So this one is about a teacher who is not wanting to be attracted to anyone that is like super nice and super like plain Jane, but it's our hero falling in love with this girl that is his complete opposite. So the next few books I have to show you is from Mia Sosa, and if you guys haven't known yet, or if you guys don't know, Mia Sosa actually wrote this book that I completely forgot what the title is. It's called The Worst Best Man. Yes, this year. I absolutely fell in love with her writing. Absolutely love the diversity in the series. So I had to pick up her back copies, or like her back books, or her books that she written in the past. So this one's called Chasing Into Her, and this one's called A Love on Cue series. This one I feel like it's about Hollywood actors or people in the Hollywood industry. So I'm excited to read this one. So Crashing Into Her, next one's Pretending He's Mine, and then Acting on Impulse. So our main characters actually have like weird positions, like their jobs, like they're not normal, like they're Hollywood like fitness trainers or like something like that, and it's not really what I usually strive to go for, but I really like Mia's writing, so I'm excited to pick up the series. So the next book that I have to show you is actually a new Avon book that I picked up. This one's called Jane in Love by Rachel Gibney. I think this one might be a Pride and Prejudice retelling, but this one is about Jane Austen, who literally time travels into the future and meets our hero, who is in the daytime present. They're on a film set for one of actually Jane Austen's novels, and I think this is super fun. My friends have teased me endlessly because I keep telling them that I really enjoy time travel romances, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this one too. So I also decided to treat myself to 2 Skywarren novels because Skywarren is one of my favorite indie authors, and I really want to own physical copies of books that I really like, or authors I really like. So I actually never read these 2 yet, but I know that she writes really well. This one's called Mating Theory, and then this one's called The King. This one's actually a duet, so I don't have The Queen, which is the second book, but I figured if I read this book first and if I like the series, then I'll continue and I'll buy the next copy. So The Mating Theory is actually about a guy who is heartbroken that the person that he loves is actually marrying his best friend, so he decides to live recklessly, and the one thing that he does recklessly from the first, or from like the first step onwards from the wedding, is to pick up this girl on the corner of the street that seems like she just needs a break and that she needs a hot meal, and his protective alpha instincts come out and actually takes her home with him because he's super rich, and I love these types of novels. So The King is actually about a guy who like is gambling, and then this other man he's gambling with actually puts up a bet, and the bet is his daughter. So this is kind of their love story when I guess her father loses the bet, and then she has to go with our hero. The next book that I have to show you is actually A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem by Amanda Collins. And now this book is about a journalist. She's a female journalist in the historical romance period time where women are not respected yet. And she believes in telling the truth so that she can educate the young woman out there. And then afterwards, our hero is an inspector who doesn't appreciate her vulgarness in reporting, because what happened was that she reported something that kind of led to a crime to being committed, and then he thinks that she is just causing a lot of trouble. So then this is kind of like an enemies to lovers historical romance. I think this one has like vibes of Bringing Down the Duke. So I think I'm going to round it up with these 3 historical romances that I got. So the first one's Elizabeth Hoyt. This is her latest novel in her Grey Court series, which is a new series from her from Paranormal Romance. They were kind enough to send me a copy. This one's called When a Rogue Meets His Match, and I actually never read the first book in the series yet, but Elizabeth can never do me wrong because her books are just always so fun and so sexy. And then last 2 that I have to show you is from Eliza James. Honest to God, I always forget how to say her name, but oh well. So this one's called The Duchess of Mine, and I actually picked it up because I really like the step back of this one. I always see this step back on Pinterest, and I just really want to own the copy. This one is called The Duke of Mine, and this one has like the Princess and the Pea vibes where, you know, there's a lot of tons of mattresses, and she might not be a princess, or is she? So anyways, they're on a top of a lot of mattresses, and I think she has like this fairy tale series, so that's why it's this theme. So the next book that I have to show you is actually a Michelle Mead Vampire Academy series book. This one is book number 6. It's the last book. It's The Last Sacrifice. I don't know what to tell you. I bought this book because I have books number 1 to 5, and I wanted to complete the series because I was actually reading it. So my thoughts are going to come soon. If I'm sitting farther away and the camera angle is weird, it's because I had to move to get more books. But these are going to be my last 3 books I'm going to show you in this haul, because this haul is massive already. I think I showed you guys over at least 60 books, if not like more. So this one is a paranormal romance book called Flirting Under a Full Moon by Ashleigh Chase. And this is like, I think, a female photographer and a male werewolf, so I'm excited to read it. It's another early 2000s paranormal romance. And then this year, me and my friends are doing a Christmas gift exchange, and I have 2 books to show you from my Secret Santa peoples and also my friends. Instant Karma by Marissa Mayer, and this book was sent to me from Dayla, and she is on Bookstagram. Me and Dayla have been friends for a year now, and it started really funnily because what happened was that I actually met her at a book event, and then I saw her again at another book event in Toronto, but then I gave her like the biggest snub of life, and then I had to apologize to her in my Instagram DMs, and then that's how we started talking, and then she bought me this book, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm excited to read Marissa Mayer's first contemporary YA novel. And then this book is called A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow by Laura Taylor Namey, and I was excited to read this book because diversity, hello, Cuban characters. I've never read anyone, like I never read a book with a Cuban character before, so I'm excited to read it. This one's actually a Reese's YA book club pick. So anyways, that is it for all the books that I want to show you in this book haul. I actually have another stack of Stephanie Loren's books that I picked up on eBay, but I just didn't have the time to show you guys right now. It's just like I showed you guys a lot already, and it's overwhelming because all these books are surrounding me. And I also have like a big box of books that was sent to me from Valentine PR that I haven't hauled yet, but hopefully you guys still enjoyed this wonderful big mess of a book haul. Let me know if any of the books interest you, and let me know if any of the books are good so that I know where to start first. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again. Bye.